Mike, what you up to today? Today we're going to plant some lettuce. So I have some supplies out here. I'm going to show you what I'm going to use for starting the lettuce seeds today. But before I started filming, what I did is I went ahead and grabbed a couple seed start trays from the shed and I cleaned them up. They're the HOSS 162 cell trays. I have 2 trays that I'm going to use today, and then the bottoms as well, the bottom trays. So I have those cleaned up. Got 2 trays ready to go with that. Also from HOSS Tools, I did purchase this seed start mix. It's the black gold. So that's what I'll be using to put in the trays. I have my bucket here. I went ahead and poured some of that seed start soil in here. And I'll add some water. We'll get that moist before we put those in the trays. I would suggest doing that. It's a lot better to go ahead and get it damp before you put it in your trays. Otherwise, when you add the water afterwards, when it's dry, it makes a big mess. I would suggest just getting it wet before you put it in. And the 2 varieties of lettuce that I'm going to grow is, one's the Butterhead. I don't have a lot of this seed. It's pelleted, which means there's a clay coating over each seed. So I'm going to kind of run that in. It's white. I don't have a lot of this seed. We're going to start everything. We'll see how much we can get out of it, but that's pelleted. I really like it. It's easy to plant. The other variety from HOSS is this Romaine lettuce. So I'll be planting a lot of this. Now the first time that I planted this spring, I was really meticulous and only put 1 little seed per cell. And I noticed as it grew, it was pretty wimpy. It was what we'd call leggy. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant a lot in a cell so I can create a really good root ball, and maybe this lettuce will stand up better. And I think it's going to produce better too, because if you only put 1 plant in at a time, it seems like it's really not a lot of lettuce. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill these seeds with, I don't know how many seeds. I'm just going to sprinkle it in and cover it up, and I'm going to put it in really nice and thick. So that's what I'm planning to do this time, see how it works out. But that's the seeds I'll be using, the soil mix, the seed start trays. Next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll start filling these trays after I add some water to this. I'm going to have to let it set for a little bit and absorb all that water, and then we'll go ahead and add that soil to the seed start trays. So stick around for a little bit and we'll get these lettuce seeds planted. Okay, here we are with the water added to the seed start mix. For those of you that would like to know how much seed start mix is in this bucket, I believe, yeah, it's 10 quarts of soil. Inside the bucket's marked. And I used 2 quarts of water. And it's done really well. What you want your soil to look like is when you squeeze it together, it sticks together, but water's not really rushing out of it. So 2 quarts of water for 10 quarts of soil. Looks like it works really well for me. Now, to add my seed start mix, I went ahead and put the trays in the yard. We'll take this bucket out to the yard because it makes a mess. And I kind of like putting it in the yard because I don't have to be all neat. So I can just throw it in there. So I just throw my trays on the ground there and put the seed start mix in there. So I'm going to cut away from here for a moment and fill these trays with this mix, and we'll be right back. Okay, here I have the trays full of the seed start soil. I have both of them filled up. I did not have enough mixed up, so I had to add another 6 quarts to the bucket to finish out these trays. So how I I just use my fingers and I pack the soil down gently in the cells like that. I just get it just below the rim of the top of the tray. Because like I said, I'm just going to sprinkle the seeds in. So that's what it looks like. Both trays. And now I just need to add my seeds and we'll cover those up. Here I've placed the Butterhead lettuce seeds. I had enough for 9 cells. I put 3 seeds in every cell except for the one right in the middle. I put a 4th seed. So that's all the Butterhead I had to plant. So we're going to see how this works with putting more seeds in each cell and letting them fatten up, get a bigger root ball. Maybe they'll produce and be a much bigger and healthier looking plant. So there's the Butterhead. Now I just need to plant the Romaine. Okay, I just wanted to share with y'all what the Romaine lettuce seeds look like. See how tiny they are? I'm going to put my finger in as a reference. They're very hard to separate and to place one seed in each cell. So I'm just going to pick them up and we're going to do it like this. See if we can get it video. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle some in there. And my intention is just to do it this way, each cell until I run out of seeds. And as these grow, I'm going to keep an eye on it. If it gets to be a point where they really look like they need to be thinned out, of course I'll go in there and I'll thin them out, and so they can grow better. But that's the way I'm going to plant these cells this time, instead of one seed in each seed, or excuse me, one seed in each cell. So I'm going to go ahead and do each cell like this, and we'll get it covered up and we'll take a look at everything when I'm finished. But that's how I intend on planting the rest of this tray and hopefully the next tray if I have enough seeds. But I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll take a look at all this. Here I've added the romaine lettuce and I put it in each cell. I don't know how many. Some got a lot and some have at least 3 or 4. But what I had in romaine will only finish this one tray. So I made up 2 trays to plant for lettuce and all I needed was 1. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this with the seed start soil and we'll be finished. We are finished with starting our lettuce seeds today. We have a complete tray of Butterhead and romaine. The last thing that I would recommend is get yourself one of these pump up or these spray bottles right here. I picked this up at one of the big box stores. I don't remember if it was Lowe's or Home Depot. But what I've found that this works really good with starting seeds, because you can spray the top of the soil and not move the seeds around or uncover them. I would recommend getting one of those, and as you can see I marked it with water/seed start. So if you want to do something like that, that would be a great idea. But right here we are finished with starting our seeds. The last thing that we need to do is just put them under a light and take them in the house where it's nice and cool. As you know, lettuce does not require heat. They will not germinate with a lot of heat, so you need to keep them in a nice cool place, and they do require light to germinate. So last thing I'm going to do is take them in the house, and I'll put my grow light on there and use my spray bottle back here to keep the soil nice and damp so they can germinate. And as this progresses, we'll go ahead and film as the little lettuce shoots come up out of the soil, and we'll see how that goes. But once again, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in a couple of days.